So most people are deficient. And when I say most people are deficient, I don't mean in protein or carbs or magnesium, vitamin D, or testosterone. While that might be true, most people are wildly deficient in movement. And that's the conversation that nobody's having, right? Because we've been trained to think about movement and exercise as like a treatment for weight loss or something that's completely optional. But here's the truth. Your body doesn't just, function better when you get exercise. It actually is a vital nutrient and a requirement. But there are specific types of movement that you need, right? Just like there are specific types of nutrients you need, right? So, and the thing is, the symptoms of not getting the proper types of movement do not happen right away. So you don't crash overnight, right? You slowly degrade and you lose joint integrity, you lose metabolic efficiency, you lose neurological sharpness, and you lose just overall like your vitality and resilience. And you wake up one day and you just call it aging. So it's not aging. It's just that you're wildly deficient. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down what I call the nutrients of movement. So my name is Dr. Ryan Hewitt. I am the host of your podcast called The Weaponized Body, where we talk about all things movement, metabolic, and mindset. And this topic of movement I'm very passionate about. And because movement is not just exercise, right? It's fuel. It's input. It's information to your brain and body, just like your diet is. And if you're missing some of these key categories, what's going to happen is you're going to become malnourished. So think about how you eat, right? You don't just eat protein and call it a day. I suppose some people do with, like a carnivore diet or whatnot. But here's the truth is you need macros, right? Protein, carbs, fat. However you get most of your macros, but you need that fuel. You need vitamins. There's specific vitamins that you need in order to survive and thrive. And you need minerals. Okay, there's certain minerals you need. Otherwise, you end up with, deficiencies and disease. And here's the truth is you do need some fiber, right? Macros, vitamins, minerals, and fiber. That's how I'm breaking down this framework, right? Each one does something different. Each one feeds a different system. Movement works exactly the same way. There are specific categories your bodies expect, though, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to break them down like this. Walking, which is your most fundamental, nutrient. I'm going to call that your macros. You cannot survive without moving your body. Number 2, strength training. This is like your vitamins. Cardiovascular training. Okay, training your cardiovascular system is like your minerals. And sprinting is just like, the fiber on top. If you miss one of these, you become deficient. You miss multiple of these, what happens is you break down faster than you realize. So let's break it down by talking about category number 1, which is walking. Let's call this, once again, your macros. This is the most overlooked one because most people that focus on exercise just think about like, oh, I got to strength train or I got to run on the treadmill or whatnot. But here's the thing, is just that low level daily movement, that non-optional movement is what your most vital nutrient is when it comes to just the overall benefit of moving your body. Everything falls apart without it. Walking is not just about burning calories. So we have to get away from that mindset that we're just like burning energy when we move our body. It's actually feeding your body, truly. It's more like feeding your body than burning calories, right? Walking is neurological nutrition. Every step you take sends sensory input from your feet up through all of your joints. Your joints are stimulated through what are called not proprioceptors, but mechanoreceptors, which it creates something called proprioception in your brain. So you're stimulating your joints through movement, which nourishes your brain, and that input to your brain tells you where you are in space. That's literally what proprioception means. So that literal active movement is what your body needs in order to know where you are in space. But it also, charges up your brain. It feeds what's called your cerebellum, which is the backside of your brain. Without it, your brain loses clarity on how it controls your body. So here's the thing, when people stop moving, they don't just get like tight and sore. Your brain literally gets less input. And when your brain gets less input, it produces worse output. You ever heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out? If you sit and you're stagnant for too long and you are completely immobile, right? If you have a sedentary type of life, your coordination starts to shit the bed. Your reaction times slow down. Your balance starts to go sideways. And what happens, your injury risk starts to go through the roof. And people don't realize this is from just chronic sedentary lifestyle. So something as simple as just walking has been shown to improve cognitive function, right? And reduce the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. So they know that neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, have a strong correlation with sedentary lifestyle. So, and we're not talking about like, hey, we're going to consider walking light exercise because it feeds the brain consistent low-level input. It's not about burning calories, right? It keeps your joints alive as well. We cannot overstate enough how important it is to circulate all that fluid in your joints called synovial fluid, because that's how tissue maintains elasticity. It supports lymphatic drainage, the contraction of your muscles, supports circulation in general. And it does even improve insulin sensitivity. You ever heard of taking a walk after you eat a meal? It literally reduces the amount of insulin output that you have by a certain percentage. They use this strategy with people that are trying to lose weight or trying to improve their blood sugar. Everybody in general, right, should move their body after they eat. This is the baseline. This is like, the buy-in, the bare minimum requirement, right? If you miss this, everything else you do becomes less effective. And by the way, walking is not exercising. Just throw that concept out the window. I hate it when people say, like, I ask them, hey, do you exercise? And they say, oh, I walk. It's like, okay, so when do you exercise? Walking should be like breathing air, right? If you're not getting 8,000 or more steps a day, like, you need a total revamp of how you live your life. All right. So that is like baseline, nutrients. That's where you get your like fuel from, is from walking. Number 2, strength training. So strength training is like your vitamins. We all understand how critical certain vitamins, well, most all vitamins that we need, right? We all know how critical it is to get vitamins from our fuel, right? So there's vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. We get all of these things from our food and from the sun and from our soil, etc. So strength training, like protein. So strength training, you can think of it like, not protein. Strength training, you can think of it like the vitamins, right? So if walking keeps you functioning and alive, right? Strength training determines like the quality of life that you're able to have. Okay. When you lift heavy things, it doesn't have to be every day, but often enough where your muscles are being challenged and you're sending signals to your body that it actually needs to adapt to this force that you're placing upon it. What kind of adaptation does your body make? Well, you build muscle, you build more robust tendons, you build more robust ligaments, you build more collateral circulation. You build this metabolic, and by the way, it's expensive to build muscle. So you really got to make sure you're sending this signal often. Okay. It responds by becoming more durable. Okay. Harder to kill, more weaponized. Okay. That's why you will hear me talk about strength training all day, every day, and how critical it is. It's not optional. Okay. People that are like, oh, I exercise, I Peloton and I walk. It's like, yeah. Okay. So is that it? Right? You're missing a vital nutrient. It's like you're deciding to become malnourished. Okay. You're deciding to have weaker bones. Okay. Because strength training literally increases your bone density. It literally increases the tendon strength of all of your attachments of your muscles. It increases the ligamentous strength of all of your bone-to-bone connections in your body. Your muscle mass increases. So you actually like not only feel better, you look better, you become far harder, to hurt and kill. Your cartilage becomes more resilient. There's less doctor visits. I mean, the benefits are endless, endless. So this is how you build a body that doesn't break. Okay. You move it often, every day. You move it every day and you lift heavy stuff. Okay. Muscle is everything. The more muscle you carry, the better your body handles blood sugar. More muscle you carry, the higher your metabolic rate is. Okay. It's much easier to burn calories when you're doing nothing. It's like you're compounding interest. The more muscle you carry, the more protected you are against all metabolic diseases, all chronic illnesses across the board. But here's what people don't talk enough about is that strength training builds your brain also. Go figure. We're going to be hitting on this topic in every one of these pieces of the framework. Is it improves your brain health. It increases compounds like IGF-1. You'll hear me talk about this hormone a lot because on my weaponized body panels, IGF-1 is on every single one. We want to know what are the effects of growth hormone on this individual. Okay. Are they lagging in this? Okay. Are they not recovering well? Because IGF-1 supports brain health and neuroplasticity, not just muscle growth, right? It improves executive function when you strength train. Okay. It sharpens your ability to think, decide, act. Okay. All of those mental benefits. Okay. Because let's face it, lifting heavy is not comfortable. This is why a lot of people do not do it. We're talking like less than 10. It is disgusting. It's less than 10% of the population, I believe, or like less than 20%. When you're lifting weight, it forces you to strain, to focus, to stay under pressure. And it's not just training your body, it's training your mind, it's training your identity. It's forcing you to do difficult things on a routine basis. So like the benefits are just endless and tremendous. Okay. It is so important. It is a vital vitamin that you must apply to your weekly life. All right. So that's number 2. Number 3, cardiovascular training. It's so funny because there's some people that seem to be like really gravitated towards like cardio they like, but they don't like lifting. Or there's those that really love lifting and hate cardio. Cardio doesn't care. If you love it or hate it, it is a vital nutrient. Okay. This is the same as like minerals. Okay. If we got our macros, we got our vitamins, this is like your minerals. So let's talk about the one that either people overdo or completely misunderstand, right? Which is cardiovascular training. It supports your heart. Sure. Everyone understands this. Literally, it's called cardio. Improves your lung capacity. But that's just the surface benefits. All right. Cardio, once again, is brain nutrition at actually the highest level. When you do cardiovascular training, you increase something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. This is some really, really cool shit. It is the same as like brain fertilizer. It helps grow new brain cells. It strengthens connections between neurons in your brain, and it improves your ability to learn, focus, and retain information. There's a fantastic book out there. It is written by an MD named, I think, Rattay, and it's called Spark. And I'm just going to like paraphrase, summarize the book real quick, but they studied a group of children at a school that annually were amongst the worst performers when it came to standardized testing. They installed a program where they got kids every morning to, run laps, or I think around, the field or whatnot, with heart monitors to make sure that they are putting in effort. And then they had them sit down and learn afterwards, rather than getting your kid to school, like, with baloney in their belly and no movement, right? They were having these kids start their day with some cardiovascular exercise, and then they were prepping them to learn. And the results were like astounding. They went from like worst to first. And this was simply from one thing they changed, which was to get the kids to move their body first thing in the day. And the book is phenomenal. It talks about all of the amazing benefits of exercise and the brain. But I thought one of the coolest ones, man, was this brain-derived neurotropic factor that they can measure, it is, ignited by cardiovascular type of work, okay? Cardiovascular types of efforts. This is why you feel like clear and locked in and focused. If you've ever done cardio, right, even for 20 minutes, like you just feel different. Cardio also regulates your nervous system too. So it helps actually reduce anxiety, improves like emotional and impulse control. It balances neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. And you probably heard this, like exercise consistently outperforms, for depression, antidepressants. So if I had to design a program to give someone depression, I would deprive them of movement. Okay, that's the first thing I would do. I would get them out of sunlight, I'd deprive them of movement, and I'd feed them like pure processed foods. I guarantee you there would be anxiety and depression and just feelings of just horrible brain activity. Sleep? Well, do you think cardio helps your sleep? Well, cardio is one of the most powerful tools for improving sleep. It's not talked about often enough. It helps you fall asleep faster, sleep deeper, recover better. So when people say that cardio is just for like fat loss, they're missing the big picture. It literally is a nutrient for your brain. That's why I consider it the mineral of our framework here. And then lastly, the last part of our framework, which I call the fiber, is I think the most neglected nutrient of them all because it's the most uncomfortable. And literally, when's the last time you saw like a 40-year-old man or woman sprint, right? Or, jump explosively? It's so rarely done. If there's, less than 20% of people that exercise, okay, over the age of 40 years old, well, there's less than like a percent of those people that are sprinting on a routine basis. Now, here's the crazy part. Sprinting is it's like your high potency compound. Okay. It's the stuff that separates people who are capable from people who are fragile. If you've listened to longevity experts, they'll talk about one of the first signs of muscle loss is not just it's not just generalized muscle loss. What they found is the first types of muscle that you lose are called type 2 fibers. Type 2 fibers are your muscles that are for explosive types of movements. The sooner you lose your ability to have explosive movement, that's why people fall. That's why people fall and fracture bones, because they lose their ability to have explosive type, like you catch your foot on a curb and you're able to reflexively catch yourself, okay? Be able to have any sort of dynamic ability to move quickly. And this is why people get so fragile. They get slow, they get weak, and that's why they get old, right? Sprinting, jumping, moving explosively. Okay, this is where power comes from, right? Power is your ability to produce force quickly. Okay, force equals movement times acceleration, right? This is what keeps people safe. Okay, because life doesn't happen slowly, right? You don't fall slowly, you don't react slowly, you don't catch yourself slowly. You either have the ability to produce the force quickly or you don't. And as I mentioned, this is where injuries happen, falls turns into fractures, small mistakes become big problems. So sprinting also trains your nervous system to be fast, okay? It allows you to retain and maintain as much of that type 2 fiber activity as you can, but it also keeps those motor units intact, keeps your nervous system quick, keeps your fast twitch fibers alive. It improves your ability to react. And never mind the metabolic benefits, right? It hits energy systems that nothing else touches, right? You think about doing things fast and hard like Tabata sprints, metabolic conditioning. It stimulates powerful hormone responses. Okay, you want to boost your testosterone, you'll want to do these powerful explosive efforts. It enhances mitochondrial function, okay? AKA it keeps your energy levels high. It's not optional. It's like what keeps you dangerous. If you want to be a weaponized dad, you want to be a weaponized mom, you have to be moving routinely. You have to be strength training. You have to be cardiovascularly taking care of your brain, nervous system, heart, and lungs, and you need to be sprinting or doing explosive type of movements routinely. So, because that's the reality, is that most people are not overtrained. Most people are way undernourished, aka undertrained. They might walk but never lift. They may lift but never sprint. They may do cardio but never build strength. So it's like eating protein and ignoring vitamins and just deciding to stay malnourished, right? It's deciding to be deficient. Okay, you're making a conscious decision to be deficient if you are not doing all of these things routinely and regularly. Okay, like I don't care. You don't have time. Your body doesn't care. Okay, your body doesn't care. It's a required nutrient to stay healthy, well, and balanced. So the takeaway here is if you want a strong and sharp mind, you want a resilient life. Okay, I love that word, resilient. It's your ability to adapt routinely and regularly to like any stressor life throws at you. Okay, you got to stop treating movement like an option. Okay, start treating it like a nutrient, because that's what it is, right? Your movement diet is actually very simple. You need to move your body routine regularly every day, at least 8,000 steps or more. You got to lift heavy and routinely. You got to train your heart and lungs with some cardio stuff, okay, and move fast. You don't have to do all of that every day, right? But every week have some components of those types of training in your regimen, okay? Otherwise, you won't stay the same. You will decay, okay? But if you do these things, you will do something that most people never will. You will, have a body past the age of 40 that performs, that, you'll have a brain that stays sharp. Okay. You'll have these unbelievable abilities to do these things that people only dream of. What makes me so sad is when we go to like amazing places, whether it's like, somewhere sunny and warm or somewhere that's like, outdoors and, in the mountains or the lakes or like to Europe or South America or whatever it is. And I see these people like laying around and they're in this unbelievable place with all these unbelievable opportunities to do these incredible type of adventurous things, but they can't. Because they lived their whole life one-dimensional. Okay, either just walking and moving or, only doing a certain type of thing or just missing out on taking care of their body. Okay. You want to enjoy your life, take care of your body. Okay. Take care of the vital nutrients of movement, right? Strong body, strong mind, weaponized life. All right. So I appreciate you guys for listening. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Please like, share, and subscribe.